Good afternoon. It's Friday, November 30th, 2024, and it's a Wall Street Weekly Wrap-Up with your host, John Newquist. And a shortened holiday week. Today we used to call this Amateur Day because everybody's home and trading stocks, and most likely it would go up today, and it did go up today. But kind of a slow news week, so it will be a fast show today. NVDA, every week is NVDA, right? You got to remember, SoftBank got the first batch of the Blackwell chips, second generation AI chips. The Grace Hopper was the first one. Japan's going to put $1.5 trillion for funding artificial intelligence chips. Now, again, it's not going to be all NVIDIA, but, it's in there. I mean, the chart, NVIDIA, nice steady upcline. This is like the perfect chart for a 200-day moving average. It's a little bit higher. It's coming down a little bit. It's almost at the 50-day moving average, bouncing around that level. It has gone below the 50, so that's the number we look at. Could it go down to 120? Sure it could. Sure it could. But, before, look at this. It got up there about 150. It touched it for a day. Like, boop, I got 150, and then I went back to 138. So, our biggest holding does well. And, again, it's a lot of people are nervous. They're trying to move around. It's almost like the biggest S&P gainer is NVIDIA, and you don't have it. You didn't beat the S&P probably. AMGN, oh my God, that was a bad week. The weight loss drug, Maritide. I was going to say Maritide. 20% weight loss. So if you were a 200-pound person, you lost 20%. That means you lost 20 pounds. If it was 10, 40 pounds. That's a lot of weight. And the drug had some negative reactions. People got sickness, and some people dropped out of the trial because of the sickness and stuff. I think maybe it eases into it. Start out with little doses as you get used to it, and it might be better. But it's between Novo Nordisk and Lilly's drug. A lot of people said, well, Lilly's got to have a year advance before this even gets out there. So are you really going to switch from Lilly with no side effects? Lots of people. That's a good question. A lot of people are looking at that answer and stuff. But AMGN, like I said, it just dropped. It was down here, and people are about to throw up their towel, because I give up on these biotechs. Well, that's what you get when you try to do it. Does phase 3 look good? Be a different story. But it's not a bad number. 20%. That's a lot in a year. That's a lot. You're 300 pounds, you lost 60 pounds that year. That's a pound a week. That's pretty amazing. Oh, what are we doing here? So the indicators, again, 3/4 interest rate cuts in September, and the rate's going up, and people are panicking. They don't think it's going to come down. They think they can cut in December. May not be that big a result. Crude oil below 70, that's the magic number. Remember, they are making billions of dollars at 67. So don't fret on your energy stocks like Exxon, Conoco, and everybody else you buy in there. Natural gas futures, boy, they're bracing for a cold winter. It's at 336. Remember, we see a lot of times below 3. This year is weird. I'm going to say it may not go below 3 again. Gold up a little higher, digital gold. Up there, Bitcoin couldn't get above 100,000. I didn't put the chart up this week, but everybody's watching it, it's looking at it. Silver, 31 hours, just above $30 again. Copper, still low. That's telling us the economy. I want to see copper at 450. Then I believe the economy's rolling across the world. Live cattle set a new kind of high. I mean, look at this. It's not as high it was way back over here, but it's pretty good. You had a collapse in beef prices. This is a pretty nice chart running up. So beef is more expensive. And I just saw bacon for $10, a 2-pound slab. And that's kind of high. So I don't think people are, of course, bacon isn't beef, I know. But S&P 500 chart, that's a pretty solid chart. It's kind of, I call it kind of like a looping wave. It goes up, around, up, down. It's like a wave, up and down. And it's been going up. I'm not a fan of these ascending wedges. That's what I'll call this today. Because it usually breaks to the downside. Remember, we are predicting a 5 to 20% correction by January 20th. And we'll see if we get it or not. Everybody's saying, no, we'll get a Santa Claus rally. I'm almost 100%. Well, that's when the market decides to do what it wants to do, and what you think should happen doesn't matter. Our portfolio, 41%, killing the S&P, which is our benchmark, 26%. Again, a little bit of loss in NVDA this week, put it a little bit tighter, but remember, we got all the other good stocks, so it's just not just one stock. And the Russell, wow, over 20%. You know, you remember in September, this thing was at almost zero. And, you know, of course, NVIDIA is in the Dow, so as NVIDIA goes, Dow's going to have a little bit of effect too. Kohl's came out with earnings. I always watch it because it was in our portfolio a while. CEO resigned, and boy, I'll tell you what, that's a big drop. They did not like that news. It's been floundering down, down, and down. Revenues below consensus, fell 8.5. Well, a lot of retailers have not done well on stuff. I mean, you know, everybody's got kind of the same stuff this year. It's not like something's sticking out from one brand to another. Lululemon had the stores, probably the best for a company that really doesn't do a lot of sales. A lot of people are out there, but Athletica's giving them competition. So Kohl's is in trouble. And even though it's got good clothing, Sephora's there, still a problem. RIVN popped up a little bit. You can see right when they announced they got a Georgia funding facility, $6 billion to build the factory in there. Alone, though. Alone, not a grant, alone. Maybe it's a low interest loan, but that's good. It's going to increase production and low financing and stuff. Been a tough stock, but you know what? Here's the big thing. Downtrend was here. It broke out of the downtrend. That's a positive sign. If you're going to get into NVIDIA, RIVN might be the time to do it. You know, for all these people saying, I'll get it back at 10, it might not go back to 10. I mean, our 200-day moving average is right here, and it's above it now. So will these things come up above? Maybe, maybe not. You know, it's been a tough stock, but I like it. We're waiting till the end of the year. You know, if we're down at the end of the year with RIVN, we're just going to sell it. You know, whatever you think is right doesn't matter if the market's telling you you didn't do it right. You know, don't argue with the market. The market decides it.
This is a reminder.
Alexa.
Think about where the S and P will be at.
Oh my God. Alexa, stop. You know, I've been hearing a lot of rumors. What it'll be? Well, 7,000 by the end of 2025. It could be. You know, we've had two 20% years. Remember that chart I showed a few years? It doesn't usually go 3 years in a row. You know, in fact, most times it's going to go down. So, I mean, I would be happy with an 8% year next year. People are like, oh my God, you had 20%? No, we had 33% last year. We're at 41% this year, whatever I put up there. No, we can't get it 3 years in a row. We're not that good. Nobody's that good. I mean, you know, we're talking about number one in the country. And I'm telling you, it is not going to be a good year in 2025. It'll be okay. But if we get 8 to 10%, I'll be taking it, you know. Let it breathe a little bit. HP, big company, of course, 93 cents per share on earnings. I thought was okay. You know, everything was in line. Market doesn't like in line. Look at us. You know, we didn't beat. We didn't have a surprise. They tanked the stock down a little bit. This is my issue. It's 1.7 increase. I mean, that's okay. You know, I got to go buy another one, and I got to debate what I want to buy. I hate to say, and I not hate to say, I had an HP I bought for $200 6 years ago, and I'm going to retire it just because I'm out of RAM. I mean, you know, somebody said you can put new. No, I can go buy a new laptop, you know, for my work. I mean, you know, I was going through a laptop not even a year. They die, and you know, I'm hard on them. I'm taking them around everywhere. I do all this stuff. It's tough to get a good laptop, but HP has earned my favor for making something last 6 years for $200. It's beyond belief. I still got two other laptops I haven't even cracked open. But we'll see. I got to go look at what Windows software and everything else. So, Arrowhead, you know, this is where the pharmaceuticals and the biotechs, you know, you got to look at pharmaceuticals make money, biotechs not going to do it. They're going to rely on money from the other people. Had a licensing agreement, and boy, it popped in that licensing agreement. You know, the losses in revenues, it's a biotech. It's not going to make anything. It licensed the drugs. So, this is pretty good news. I mean, that's a big bust out of a negative downtrend for almost, you know, really the whole year it's been downtrending. And it busted now. Now you're in new territory. Should get up here to fill the gap, as, you know, the chartists always call it, you know. But going to be a interesting alignment. You know, I mean, that's a good Good week for them. And Dell, should have made a smaller font, but I didn't. 9.5 inch. Again, they put the server towers in for the data centers. I look at it as it's not a private monopoly. It's not a sacred technology. It's just a server tower and putting the Dell stuff in there with it. And everybody was talking about, well, you didn't talk about S&C Micro, Super Micro. Is it going to get delisted? They got a real chance of getting delisted. You get added to the S&P 500 and get delisted less than a year from that. I don't think I remember a case like that. The S&P is pretty tough on letting people come into it. So, we'll see. Again, they did earnings. I thought was okay. Revenues were up 9%. That's not bad. Good earnings, and they didn't like it. They dropped it. Dropped it below the trend line, below the averages, right at the 200-day moving average. So, whew, not good if you're Dell. And then Best Buy, I go into Best Buy like every other month, maybe. There was times I used to be there every other week, but not anymore. And revenues are down. People are holding back. Everybody's, here's the thing about retail. Everybody knows Black Friday's coming. Cyber Monday's coming. Why are they going to buy the stuff in the next month beforehand? Unless you absolutely need it. So this discretionary stuff like the big screen TVs and the glasses for your Ray-Bans and everything else, you can wait. You're going to wait for the deals. Now, I bought probably half my shopping list because there was good enough deals. You offer me 30% on something I was going to buy anyway. I'm taking it, But Best Buy fell revenues, and I think it's going to do good. People are looking, I'm watching people getting these 85-inch big screens for thousands of dollars, where the people said, oh, 32 is not enough, for a person who grew up on a 13-inch TV. That's a lot of space, so. But, it makes money. The earnings are down. Well, that's a lot of people. I think the cycle is going to go up, but is it next year? Probably. And the building XLRE, I called it building. Remember we split the REITs out to what I call building and added Airbnb and Hilton and Marriott because I think I'm going to add into the home builders next. But as I flesh out, these are all $15 billion market cap stocks, so it's a small list. But, this is a nice chart. Holy smokes, it's a nice uptrend, steady. The REITs are doing well. A couple of them. Carry, probably the worst.
This is a reminder. Ask about when the real estate market will.
Alexa, stop. Well, when will it collapse? I don't think it'll collapse. I think the interest rates are going to go down, and people who have access to the low interest rates are going to do well, and people are still spending. It's not the end of the world, as I call it. It's people are just tighter with the budget. The consumer credit's high, the debt is high, debt. It's going to be an issue. So, how far can it go? I don't know, but I think this market is not bad. You got to be in it. We're with UDR. Let's take a look at Vertiv first because Vertiv's a monster, 48 million market cap. Does the work of the data centers for the air conditioning and all the ventilation, and it's going good. Of course, people don't like it when it goes up, but this is it. It's up. It was a high a couple weeks ago. Now it's down 10%. You just got to be strong stomach. 0.6% dividend. It gives you like Microsoft, a little bit lower. Vertiv. Where'd you go, Vertiv? That's what happens when you don't click by the arrow. $15 billion. This is a good market cap. Solid growth. Again, real estates were kind of tough until May, and the interest rates are coming up, and now we're going up. And that's where the REITs are, going to do well because they can buy and sell, and lower interest rates, they're all about interest rates. So, good stock, solid payer, never missed a dividend at ever. So, again, we're looking at it, home builders would be another one. But look at the heat map for the week. Again, we haven't bought and sold the stock in 8 weeks? 8 weeks? We'll sell it in December. We'll sell some dogs in the September, but, to be 40-some%, well above the S&P 500. That's what you want. Buy the best stocks, and that's what we're doing. Walmart, boom. Amazon, boom. Microsoft, boom. Google, okay. Meta, okay. You know, a little low on the things. Or NVDA went down again. But you know, NVIDIA is what it is. It's momentum and shorts, and everybody are in the stock, and you just got to expect it to jump around. But 2026, it's sold out. 2025, it's sold out. They're going to do well. So I mean, as long as they can make chips, you know, everything else is going to be good. Otherwise, have a good week. Stay warm, and I'll see you next week.